What's up, guys? BradThomas here with goldboys.com, and we are back with another huge slate for the college football week. But before we get into the games, I want to thank our sponsors. First, let's thank Sleeper Picks. Use code GOLDBOYS on your first deposit for up to $100, or you can use code BradThomas if you love me a little bit. And the other sponsor we want to thank is Pickett Sports. Always remember, smart gamblers shop their lines. Without further ado, let's get into it. What's that mean? Rivalry week. Probably my favorite or second favorite week in the college football season, because this year it might be even more important, or it might be our last chance to say goodbye to some of these rivalries as conference realignment comes. Let's talk about the game, the biggest game, the most anticipated game of the season, Ohio State at Michigan. Michigan is a 3-point favorite, 3.5-point favorite, depending on where you look, in the total set at 47.5. Again, this is a good reminder to use Pickett Sports to shop your lines because you can find some 3.5s available. It's the number one scoring defense versus the number two scoring defense. That's Michigan at number one, Ohio State at number two. I'm not going to have a bet on the actual game, but a lean. You know, this is the biggest game of the week, and I don't want you guys to go empty-handed. I do believe Ohio State at least covers the 3.5. If you're able to wait on this line and get Ohio State at a better number, I think you will. So the line opened up closer to 6 last week, 6.5 on the look-ahead line, dropped immediately to 5.5, and then down to 3. But there seems to be some buyback on Michigan, at that low number. I would play this for sure at +5, +5.5. I think it's a 3 or 4 point game. But I do lean Ohio State. Here's why. So Michigan State, they excel at running the ball. We know J.J. McCarthy is getting all the hype as a quarterback, but there's no denying Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards as the 1-2 punch, the double-headed monster for this Michigan team. The Joe Moore winning offensive line of Michigan has some injury issues. They are banged up on the offensive line, and I do think that's going to be interesting against this stout defensive line of Ohio State. An Ohio State team that's only allowing 108 yards per run. Where it starts to get a little dicey for me is the quarterback pressure and why it makes sense Michigan's favor. Not only is this game going to be played in the big house at 12 o'clock, it's going to be the biggest game at 12 o'clock, going to be the biggest game all day. It's going to be absolutely nuts. But Michigan has a very high opposing quarterback sack rate and a very high pressure rate. And why that worries me is Kyle McCord. Kyle McCord hasn't done great under pressure. And do we know if Travion Henderson's going to be entirely healthy? I think he is. He looked good in his last game. I actually took him over 9.5 receiving yards. That line's dead, but I would still play the 14.5 receiving yards that are available. He's been hitting this with high efficiency. But let's talk about a player who I think is going to catch a lot of balls. That's Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm taking him over 5.5 receptions. It's juicy. It's on FanDuel at -146. We don't always get reception props for college football players, but let's look at Marvin Harrison. If you look at the targets he's getting, it's hard to find a game where he's getting less than 7 targets per game. And generally in big games, they like to go to tight ends. But I think this is the game where you want to use Marvin Harrison. The sure-handedness of Marvin Harrison is going to get you across the finish line. Ohio State can run the ball all they want. They can try to run the ball all they want. But they're not going to win this game if Maserati Marv and Kyle McCord are not playing at their absolute highest. This is a Michigan team that is ranked first in total defense, scoring defense, and EPA per play defense. So don't think you're just going to line the ball up and run it every single time. But I do love Marvin Harrison over 5.5 receptions. That's my favorite play because I think he will get 9 to 10 targets in this game. If you want to be daring, I think this is the time that you bet on Marvin Harrison to win the Heisman. Why? Because if somehow Marvin Harrison goes for $150 and 1 or 2 touchdowns, the Heisman is his because they will probably win the game. And if they win for the first time in 2 seasons, I think he will win the Heisman. But one last tidbit for this game I thought was pretty funny. It doesn't influence how I bet this game, but this is the first time Michigan is favored of Ohio State in 5 years. So let's see how the Wolverines perform as the favorite. The last game I want to talk about, the Iron Bowl. Everyone in Alabama hates Auburn, even Auburn fans. The only reason Auburn fans hate Alabama fans is because they wish they were us. I'm going to take the Crimson Tide minus 14.5. Let's not forget, Auburn just lost to New Mexico State. They paid $1.8 million to get their butts whipped against that team. Alabama's coming in cruising. We know it's tough to play in Jordan Hare. We know the history of what's happened in this. But as Nick Saban has said himself, let's forget about the history and let's only focus on this game. This Alabama defense has gotten better and better each week. Kevin Steele has done tremendous numbers. Now, if you're telling me, do you want to trust this Alabama defense or do you want to trust Peyton Thorne? Yes, the same Peyton Thorne from Michigan State who got ran out of town, now playing for Auburn. I'm trusting Alabama to get the job done. Jalen Milroe has been phenomenal. Jalen Milroe, the Dinkin bomb, as Parker or Stats O'Ward likes to call him, he has been tremendous. One of the most efficient deep ball passers in college football. And now it looks like Tommy Rees is running the ball with him a lot, making the offense more of a chameleon look. So yeah, I don't like Auburn, but I do like Alabama minus 14.5. I want to thank everyone for checking out these bets. Be sure to drop your favorite bets in the comment. And on the way out, press the like button, ring the bell, and share this video with one of your friends. And before I let you go, I want to thank our sponsors, Sleeper Picks, Pickett Sports, and of course, goldboys.com. Gambling should be fun, but if you have a gambling problem, remember to call 1-800-GAMBLER. Enjoy the game and enjoy the sweat. Take care.